Welcome to the Shreveport Connection with Tommy. This video is on your pre-show from the Rumble and also the Rumble from yesterday, Sunday. And here we go with the news prior. WWE wanted to bring back Rikishi for the Rumble on Sunday. However, Jerry the King Lawler noted in his NewYorkPost.com interview that his son contacted him and told him that Rikishi had to back out in the last minute because of another prior commitment. Also, in the audience, right before he sang his national anthem, Tool guitarist Adam Jones proposed to his girlfriend, Corin, moments right before the Rumble pay-per-view started. A message appeared on the big screen, then Jones got down on one knee and presented her with the ring. And you can view the footage on WWE.com. Jones performed the national anthem on guitar at SummerSlam pay-per-view in Los Angeles in 2011. He noted on his Facebook page shortly thereafter that Triple H and Stephanie McMahon are Tool fans, so they invited him to perform at SummerSlam. Hunter and Steph have excellent taste in music. Jones is such a fan that he actually complied with Vince McMahon's request for a demo tape. And now for your Royal Rumble pre-show. Tony Dalton and Matt Striker introduced the show from ringside. Me and my buddy Robert was watching the pay-per-view online, and we didn't know who the Tony Dalton was. I believe he's just on the pre-show anyways. And they ran through the Rumble match lineup. Backstage, Josh Matthews interviewed Big Show, and then they showed footage of him losing the title to Alberto Del Rio. Back live, Show got upset because they didn't show footage of him getting the better of Del Rio on SmackDown. Show said winning the lottery doesn't make you a good businessman. He said Del Rio hit the lottery. And Show said no one has the ability to beat him twice, not happening. He said the feed cut out on YouTube and the WWE website at the same time. But me and Robert kept it on the WWE website because I tried it on their YouTube account first. I cut it off myself because we put it on the big screen once it came on WWE.com. Alright, then they started the Royal Rumble stats video was shown, and then your match. Antonio Cesaro versus Miz for the U.S. title. Cesaro waved the U.S. flag on his way to the ring. Striker sided with Cesaro by saying he agreed with him when it comes to how Miz embodies everything that's wrong with the United States. Cesaro popped the crowd by catching Miz with a great power slam for a close 2 count at 2-minute mark. Cesaro then continued to control the offense and threw a flurry of punches into Miz's gut early on. Miz came back with a kick, but Cesaro caught him with a backbreaker moments later. Cesaro went for another power slam, but Miz slipped out and hit the reality check for a 2 count at 5 minutes 10 seconds. Miz then jumped off the top rope and landed awkwardly. He came up selling an ankle injury. The announcers noted that the referees were allowing the match to continue. Miz rolled up Cesaro for a 2 count. As I was expecting, he was playing cat and mouse. And he followed up by clipping the back of Cesaro's knee. The woo chants started to begin. And in the end, Cesaro hits the neutralizer for the win. And the match took 7 minutes 35 seconds out of our lives. Well, it was supposedly a good match with a clean and decisive finish. Miz was protected a bit by the ankle injury, how he landed awkwardly, but it looked like it was intended to be that way so he could sell the ankle. The crowd was into the match, and a reporter also noted from the building that that Miz received a babyface reaction. Well, duh, he's face now. There were a lot of generic "what a maneuver" and "what a reversal" calls from the announcers. It was nice to hear Striker side with the heel, as I liked his early work as a heel color commentator. While JBL played face the entire show. Dawson and Striker spoke at ringside and transitioned into the hype for the WWE Championship match. A video aired to hype CM Punk vs. Rock to conclude the preview show. And now for your pay-per-view. Opening video started with a countdown clock. Started at 10, worked its way down. Time you can never have enough, the narrator said. He said every second counts and everything can change. Footage aired of past Royal Rumble moments and current WWE stars. Video shifted to CM Punk versus The Rock and featured past and present footage of Rock. Cole Sly introduced the show from ringside along with JBL and Jerry King Lawler. Big Show made his entrance. Alberto Del Rio and Ricardo followed. Ricardo was skittish about Big Show. They bumped into Bret Hart, who told Del Rio that he reminded him of a Mexican Bret Hart. Ricardo, who had the Mexican bucket marked out for Bret, who gave him his glasses. The Mexican Bret Hart. Can I change my prediction of Del Rio dropping the trap? Not. Del Rio and Ricardo were a little too comedic prior to a big title defense for my liking. Man, they really made shows stand in the ring a long time. Finally, the match is on the way. Unless it was the last man standing for the World Heavyweight Championship. Before the match, Ricardo walked out wearing the shades and did the Bret Hart pose before introducing Del Rio, who came out through the entrance. JBL went off on how Del Rio's uncle, Mil Mascaras, is the biggest egomaniac on the planet. Big Show controlled early on action. They went to ringside, and Del Rio fired back and got an 8 count on Big Show. They followed up to the set area, where Show grabbed a piece of the hanging set and slammed it over Del Rio. It broke like a fluorescent light tube, a light bulb. Show climbed on the hanging piece and set it and pulled Del Rio up by his hair. Show then chokeslammed Del Rio off the set and threw a table on the floor. Wow, we thought the match was over. Well, Del Rio crashed through the table and landed on some of the small fractured pieces of the set. Del Rio got up at a 9 count for a big pop. And Big Show took Del Rio back to the ring and set up the knockout punch. Del Rio rolled out the ringside to avoid it. Show tossed Ricardo to the ground and then tried to spear Del Rio, who moved, causing Big Show to crash through the timekeeper's wall. Show got up at 9. Del Rio starts hitting him with a chair across the back 5 times. And at that point, our internet feed went out, so we had to find another website. We got tired of the ad that was kept on appearing on it. And then it went out on the GBYN. They only have 1 channel, normally have 4 or 5. Shame on them. So we went to a different site and found it. So we missed the finish. This is why I'm doing the internet report here. And Del Rio placed Big Show's arm across a piece of the ring steps and then slammed the chair onto it. Oh shit, Show said. The censors earned their keep by muting it out. Del Rio sprayed a fire extinguisher at the Show. They made it back inside the ring at 15 minutes 45 seconds. As "This is awesome" chant broke out, Del Rio applied a cross-arm breaker. Ricardo recovered and wrapped tape around Big Show's legs at the bottom and the bottom rope. Big Show has been hogtied, Cole exclaimed. JBL responded, "No, not like this." The crowd countered in Spanish, and Del Rio got the 10 count and the win to retain the title. 17 minutes. Fun match following the initial slow-paced Show dominance in the opening minutes, and despite the weak finish, if they want to establish Del Rio as babyface champion, he can't win matches. With Ricardo essentially winning the match for him, the announcer talk of Del Rio finding a way to win afterward didn't even ring true. Backstage, Stryker interviewed Dolph Ziggler, AJ, and Big E. Dolph complained that Vicky is jaded. He said he was choosing number 1 because that's what I am. Stryker said only a couple of people have won from the number 1 spot. AJ cut him off. Langston took the mic and used a mock reporter voice and asked Ziggler what his plans after he wins the Rumble. And Dolph said he's going to do something no one else has ever done before. He said he's going to unify the WWE and the World Heavyweight titles on the grandest stage of them all. Well, that was unexpected from Langston. I've enjoyed his act a lot more when he's been quiet thus far. One can only assume that Ziggler is going to have a big night in the Rumble, considering they gave him a promo time. Will he be the guy Cena eliminates to win the match? Wait and see. Antonio Cesaro, primetime players Randy Orton, John Cena, Wade Barrett, Sheamus delivered separate brief pre-tape promos in front of a black backdrop. Wish we could have seen those promos on Raw or SmackDown rather than the Rumble. They did their most effective Royal Rumble match hype during the actual pay-per-view. At ringside, Coleslaw said that a lot of people think Ryback is the favorite to win the Rumble match. He's screwed, Lawler said. And he expects there to be a lot of surprises. They narrated footage of Antonio Cesaro defeating The Miz to retain the title, the U.S. title, in the free preview. Kane and Daniel Bryan versus Cody Rhodes and Damian Sandow for the tag titles. Bryan put Cody in the surfboard early on. JBL said, quoting, Dr. Shelby was like quoting Hannibal Lecter. The crowd was so hot early on. Bryan worked hard to get them into it by playing to them. After executing a suicide dive, Sandow rammed Bryan back first into the ring apron a couple of times. Cody and Sandow worked over Bryan, and the crowd remained quiet. Later, Kane took a Sandow neckbreaker awkwardly. Bryan tagged himself in. Rhodes Scholars teamed up for a suplex on Kane. Bryan entered the match with a missile drop kick on Sandow, who had no idea he's been tagged in. Bryan shoved Cody into the choke slam for Kane. Bryan applied the Borgasm lock on Sandow, who tapped out. Coleslaw said Dr. Shelby deserves the Nobel Peace Prize. Kane and Daniel Bryan defeated Cody Rhodes and Sandow to retain the WA Tag Team Championship in 9 minutes 35 seconds. Disappointing match, and the crowd reaction was surprisingly flat. Kane and Bryan act is getting a little old, but I thought the live crowd would still get into the Bryan yes and no stuff more than they did. I was ready for a title change, but not happening. It's getting hard to take Rhodes Scholars as threats to Kane and Bryan after all these losses. I don't want to see them go back to this as a pay-per-view match without doing a television title change first. An ad aired for Elimination Chamber, which takes place February 17th. Royal Rumble stats video aired. Backstage, Kane and Daniel Bryan celebrated their win. Vicky Guerrero excused herself in and handed them their Rumble entry numbers. She wished them good luck, and they cackled as she walked away. Bryan showed Kane his number. He got upset when Kane wouldn't show him his number. It's the rule, Bryan said. I'll show you mine, you show me yours. And the fans started laughing. Kane told him he would feel very inadequate. He said it's a bad strategy to reveal your number to anyone. See you out there, partner, he said. And Bryan said not if he sees him first. Kane said that was very unlikely, and an ad aired for the Raw Roulette for tonight's Raw. Cute comedy from Kane and Bryan, as usual. They definitely still have their moments. The announcers aired highlights of the Royal Rumble Fan Fest event. JR, that's Justin Roberts, said it was time for the Rumble match. Dolph Ziggler came out with Big E and AJ. He made out with AJ. He made out with one of them. Let your imagination run wild, okay? Oh yeah, it was AJ, of course. Dolph took the mic and said he stands alone in the spotlight, exactly where he belongs. He said he doesn't even care who number 2 is. Surprise! Entry into the Rumble, Chris Jericho. As his music played, Dolph gets more mic time. Very cool to see Jericho return on the spot. And he lasts about until he's got like number 20 in the ring. As he's got history with Ziggler and an unexpected surprise, yeah, he wore the light, bright jacket. A great way to start the Rumble. 30-man Rumble match starts. They wrestle for I believe it's every 2 minutes. Another man enters. Ziggler, they started off, and Michael Cole recalled Jericho's loss to Ziggler, resulting in his contract being terminated. Jericho has a new tattoo on his left bicep and another on the same forearm. The fan chanted, "You've still got it," at Jericho, who surprised Ziggler as the buzzer went off. Cody Rhodes is number 3. Jericho fought off the heels and applied the walls of Jericho on Rhodes until Ziggler struck him from behind. Kofi Kingston was number 4. Went after Rhodes while Ziggler and Jericho were fighting. Ziggler went after Kofi and had to avoid the Trouble in Paradise kick too early in the match. Kingston tried to eliminate Ziggler by tossing him over the top rope, but Ziggler held on. Number 5 entrant was Santino Marella, who made his first appearance, and he lasted longer than last year. And his first appearance in a couple of weeks since he got a neck injury scare. And Santino had everyone over the top rope, but not to the floor. None of them dropped to the floor. As they were on the ring apron, they surrounded him when they got back in and roughed him up. Santino Marella was the first man eliminated at 6 minutes and 5 seconds in the match. And it was by Cody Rhodes. Number 6 entrant was Drew McIntyre. Dolph tossed Jericho over the top rope, but did not go to the floor and skinned the cat. Number 7 entrant was Titus O'Neil. He picked up Kingston and did a millions of dollars chant before dropping Kofi down on his knees. McIntyre was eliminated by Chris Jericho at 9 minutes 25 seconds. Y2J chants started firing up again. Number 8 entrant was Goldust. Cody was shown shaking his head. There were 3 guys dressed up in Goldust costumes in the crowd who lost their minds. Goldust entered and went toe-to-toe with Cody. Nobody else. Ziggler tried to interfere, but Cody dropped onto his back and gave him a Goldust push. Goldust and Cody went at it again. Number 9 entrant was David Otunga, who had a black eye, presumably from Jennifer Hudson kicking his butt. Okay, that was probably not what happened. But number 10 entrant was Heath Slater, who threw punches at Kingston early on. The crowd was flat until the 10-second countdown clock popped up again. Number 11 was Sheamus. Coleslaw noted that Sheamus won last year's Rumble match. Sheamus got O'Neil on the ring apron and hit him with a forearm to the chest. Titus O'Neil was eliminated at 15 minutes 55 seconds. Sheamus then grabbed Otunga and hit him with the same shots to the chest, and then Bro kicked him to the floor, eliminated at 16 minutes 15 seconds. Number 12 entrant was Tensai. Pretty routine action until the countdown clock again. Number 13 entrant was Brodus Clay. Karen and Naomi came out, dancing along ringside as he comes into the ring. The women headed backstage once he got in the ring. Cody and Goldust was back at it again. Cody ended up on the ring apron. Goldust charged, but Cody caught him with a shoulder. They fought for position, and eventually Cody got back inside the ring and ran Goldust into the ring post, and he tumbled to the floor. Goldust eliminated at 19 minutes 45 seconds. Number 14 entrant was Rey Mysterio, who wore a singlet along with his usual pants. Mysterio performed a top rope splash and came up holding his wrist briefly. Number 15 entrant was Darren Young. Brodus Clay was eliminated by a group of wrestlers at 22 minutes in. Announcers credited Young with making the difference. Tensai was eliminated by Kofi at 22 minutes 10 seconds. Dolph took a shot at Kingston, who was on the apron. Kingston acted wobbly, but he simply jumped onto Tensai's back as he was on the floor. Kingston went from Tensai's back to the Spanish broadcast table and got off of his back. Number 16 entrant was Bo Dallas, who didn't really get any reaction from the crowd. It's like they didn't know who he was. And for those that don't know, he was the NXT participant who earned his shot in the Rumble from winning some type of battle. Kingston teased jumping from the table, but other wrestlers were waiting. Kingston grabbed one of the chairs and used it as a pogo stick. Kofi got from one of the ring guys, probably at the timekeeper's table. Well, Kofi got back in the ring and Young charged. Not a good idea. Darren Young was eliminated by Kofi at 24 minutes 20 seconds. Moments later, Cody hit a beautiful disaster on Kingston. Kofi was then eliminated by Cody at 24 minutes 25 second mark. Number 17 entrance was Godfather, who didn't even last very long, shorter than Santino was from last year. He came to the ring with a couple of hoes. He entered the ring and it was drop kick completely out. 25 minutes, 50 seconds in, number 18 was Wade Barrett on his Barrett Barrage. If the ring starts to get full, get ready for Ryback. I wonder if he will get to 11 and then have to face Kane, who holds that 11 elimination record. Okay, number 19 entrant was John Cena, who got a mixed reaction. Cena entered the match, and a group of wrestlers jumped onto him. Heath Slater was eliminated by John Cena at 29 minutes 10 seconds. Cena was a finish. He eliminated Cody at 29 minutes 15 seconds. And Cena tried to eliminate Jericho, but was unsuccessful. Number 20 entrance was Damien Sandow. Mysterio came close to using a Hurricanrana to eliminate Sandow, but it was knocked out seconds later. Rey Mysterio eliminated at 30 minutes 55 seconds. Jericho applied the walls of Jericho on Cena for a big crowd pop. Number 21 entrant was Daniel Bryan. The crowd was into Bryan more this time around, and they cheered yes when they dished out a round of kicks. And he was just kicking everybody like 1, 2, 3. Twice. It was like 3. Next person, 1, 2, 3. Next person, 1, 2, 3. Dueling Cena sucks, and Let's Go Cena chants fired up briefly. Number 22 was Antonio Cesaro. There's a reference to Scott Armstrong held up the X symbol when Darren Young was eliminated, but he's on Raw tonight, so I guess he wasn't hurt that much. Number 23 entrant was Great Khali. Not much a reaction for Khali, who performed a series of chops, and he painfully made his way to the ring. Number 24 was Kane. Coleslaw noted that Kane had been in a record 16 Rumble matches, and this is his 14th Rumble in a row. He added that Kane eliminated 11 men in 2001 Rumble to set the record for most eliminations. The number 25 entrant was Zack Ryder. Khali was eliminated by Kane at the 37-minute 45-second mark as Kane was standing by the ropes. Bryan approached from behind. Kane was eliminated by Daniel Bryan. I didn't see this part. At 37 minutes 50 seconds, which was like 5 seconds later, Bryan was knocked into Kane's arm by Antonio Cesaro. They had the Borgasm moment. Yes, no, I call it Borgasm. Okay. Daniel Bryan was eliminated by Antonio Cesaro at 38 minutes 10 seconds. Number 26 entrant was Randy Orton. Randy hit the hanging DDTs on Ziggler and Bo Dallas at the same time. First ever time I've seen that one. Orton hit the RKO on Ryder. Zack was eliminated by Randy and at the 40-minute 10-second mark. Number 27 was Jinder Mahal. Not much saying to that. Lawler recalled Jinder guaranteeing that one member of 3MB would win the Rumble. Antonio Cesaro was eliminated by John Cena at 41 minutes. Number 28 entrant was The Miz. Cesaro was leaving when Miz came out. They fought at ringside. Coleslaw noted that Miz injured his ankle during their match. Miz hobbled a bit as he entered the ring. Sheamus made Jinder Mahal a liar by kneeing him off the apron. Mahal was eliminated by Sheamus, 42 minutes 50 seconds. Number 29 entrant was Sin Cara. Number 30 entrant should be Ryback. Well, he's the only one left. The Shield are not in the Rumble match, and they can't interfere in the main event without costing Punk the title. Will they jump Ryback? Bo Dallas and Wade Barrett fought near the ropes. Wade Barrett was eliminated by Bo Dallas at 44 minutes 50 seconds, briefly. Coleslaw noted that Dallas had been in the ring for 20 minutes. Barrett ended up pulling Dallas from the ring when he got up on the ring apron. Bo Dallas was eliminated by Wade Barrett, which was unfair. 45 minutes 30 seconds. Barrett hit the bull hammer when he exited the ring. Knocked him out. Number 30, Ryback. Sandow was eliminated by Ryback at 46 minutes 30 seconds. Sin Cara went after Ryback. He went to the ropes and dove at him, and Ryback swatted him down to the mat. Sin Cara was eliminated by Ryback at 47 minutes. Miz attacked Ryback. Miz was eliminated by Ryback 47 minutes 10 seconds. Jericho hits a code breaker on Ryback, and they hit a series of them on other wrestlers. He ended up on the ring apron, caught himself, but Ziggler drop kicked him. Jericho was eliminated by Dolph at 47 minutes 50 seconds. Orton hit a series of RKOs. He RKO'd Cena first, then Sheamus, then Ziggler, and then followed up with a hanging DDT on Ryback. Orton struck the Viper's pose. Ryback recovered. Randy Orton was eliminated by Ryback 49 minutes 20 seconds. Ziggler ended up on the ring apron and was brogue kicked by Sheamus. Dolph Ziggler was eliminated by Sheamus at 49 minutes 55 seconds. The final three men were Cena, Sheamus, and Ryback. They all looked at one another. Sheamus and Cena went after Ryback and joined forces for a suplex. They both stopped and looked at the WrestleMania sign and then traded punches. Ryback recovered and hit the meat hook clothesline on Cena. Sheamus got Ryback up, slammed him down with white noise. Sheamus stood tall while Cena and Ryback were down. Sheamus signaled for the Brogue Kick. He went for the move, but Ryback recovered and dumped him over. Sheamus eliminated Ryback in 52 minutes, 35 seconds. Final two entrants were Ryback and Cena. Ryback got a feed me more chance. Cena did the you can't see me hand gesture and punched Ryback. Ryback came back with a spine buster. He fired up the feed me more chant again. Ryback went for the meat hook clothesline, but Cena tripped him up and applied the STF. Ryback acted like he passed out from the STF, even though it hadn't been on that long. Cena took him to the ropes, but Ryback recovered and did a Thesz press onto him. Ryback slammed Cena's head into the mat several times. He picked up Cena for a slam, but Cena slipped out and pushed him over the top rope and to the floor. Ryback was eliminated by John Cena at the 55-minute mark. So Cena won the 30-man Royal Rumble, as I predicted, to go on to face The Rock. What else I predicted? Well, Coleslaw said that Cena was the fourth man to win the Rumble, 2 Rumble matches. He said there was Hogan, Michaels, Austin, and now Cena. Pyro went off as Cena was pointed to the WrestleMania sign. He went up to the camera on the floor and said he was going to WrestleMania. He went to ringside and stood next to a couple of guys wearing the anti-Cena shirts and said again that he was going to WrestleMania. A good Rumble match. Jericho surprised, got things off to a great start, and was cool to see him stick around that long. Final 4 felt a little rushed. It seemed obvious that Orton was going to be eliminated right after he had a big series. I like the way they stopped and let the fans soak up the vibe of the final 3. Also, I like it was last year's winner and the 2 big favorites. The final elimination felt a little anticlimactic, as I expected a bigger battle between Cena and Ryback. And no sign of Mark Henry, Hurricane Helms, Shelton Benjamin, Chris Masters, or Carlito, as noted prior to the show. The last 4 were in Phoenix for an indie show. Henry may have been visiting, but it's still possible. He makes his return on television this week. He set up a video of CM Punk versus Rock match to get the main event going. Backstage, Josh Matthews interviewed The Rock, who delivered "finally" line. Matthews disappeared from the picture. Rock spoke about adversity through his college days. He said he was down to $7 in his pocket at age 24. He said, "We've all been through that type of adversity." Rock brought up friends and family going through cancer, mainly his mother. He mentioned his mom had cancer and wasn't promised tomorrow, but she was there to support him tonight. So that got me saying that's the point that he wins a title. Well, Rock's mother was shown in the crowd then. Front row. Rock brought up Punk saying that the people don't matter, which drew boos. Rock offered his hand to the people who have faith, who get knocked down and get right back up. He said he was offering his hand and would end 438 days of misery. He said when he gets to 1, 2, 3, it's proof that we matter and we all become one. My apologies for the delay, but I was holding my hand out to the television. 1, 2, 3. JR, Justin Roberts, handled the in-ring introductions for the main event. Censor guy came in handy when Punk was jawing with Fan at ringside. So, CM Punk with Paul Heyman versus Rock for the WWE Championship. They charged at one another to start the match. Rock got the edge with the punches, but Punk caught him with the kicks. Rock came back with a clothesline. They went to ringside. Rock started to take the Spanish broadcast table apart. Punk recovered with a kick and rolled Rock inside the ring. Punk put the Spanish announce table back together and bowed at the announce team. Hilarious. There were dueling chants for Rock and Punk. They went back to ringside where Heyman slammed his arm on Rock's back. Rock no-sold the shot and glared at Heyman, who backed off and may have yelled "Bommy." Punk saved Heyman by attacking Rock from behind. Back inside the ring, Punk applied the hold on Rock in the mid-ring Once they got back to their feet, Rock fired punches at Punk. Punk ran the ropes, but Punk caught him with a kick that knocked him back to the mat. Punk walked over Rock. Censor guy continued to earn his check by muting something. Rock yelled while selling. Heyman took another cheap shot at Rock. Rock leaned his head in between the ropes. Punk springboarded off the second rope and drop kicked Rock. Coleslaw said Punk landed gingerly on his left knee, and he had surgically repaired. Punk went to the top rope and hit Rock with a forearm on the floor. At ringside, Punk clutches his knee a bit, and Coleslaw played up the knee issues again at 9 minutes. Back in the ring, Rock targeted Punk's knee with kicks. Punk then grabbed Rock by the tights and pulled him through the ropes and out to the floor. Punk stood up and performed a suicide dive at 10 minutes in. Rock back in the ring, went for the springboard move and missed as usual. Punk sold the knee again. Rock kicked Punk's back a few times and then slammed Punk's knee onto the mat at 10 minutes 45 seconds. Punk came back and went for the GTS, but Rock blocked it and tried to apply the sharpshooter. Punk rolled through and put the Rock in the Anaconda device. Rock rolled Punk over into a pinfall for a 2 count and forced him to break the hold. Rock fired back with punches and DDT at 12 minutes 30 seconds. Well, at 13 minutes 10 seconds, Rock went for the rock bottom, but Punk held on and tried to lock in the Anaconda device again. Rock countered into the sharpshooter, but Punk eventually reached the ropes to break the hold. They went back to ringside, and Rock tore the Spanish announce table apart. Punk fired back and got Rock on the top of the table, but this was a botched spot coming up. Punk signaled for to go to sleep on the table. Rock countered with the rock bottom. However, the table collapsed before he even got to move. So they both fell. Rock came up holding his knee in pain. He recovered and rolled back in the ring to break the referee's count. Rock rolled back to the floor and performed rock bottom on the floor instead at 16:30. Rock rolled Punk back inside the ring and got a 2 count. Rock got to his feet first. Punk stood up and blasted Rock with a big kick to the head. They both fell to the mat and laid there as Heyman pounded the mat, and the referee counted them down until they got to their feet. Rock and Punk exchanged punches in the ring. Rock set up for the people's elbow. Just as he was about to drop the elbow, the lights went out. Commotion could be heard, but no one could be seen. Coleslaw yelled that it was the Shield, and they put the Rock through their announce table. When the lights came back on, nobody was around. Rock was laid out on the broken table, and the Shield were nowhere to be found. I was thinking they could be under the ring. Well, Shield, it was the Shield, as Coleslaw yelled. Punk smiled in the ring. He held up his arm as if he didn't know what happened. Heyman did the same at ringside. Punk looked toward Rock and mocked the fans by pointing to his eyes as if asked them if actually saw what happened. Punk yelled at Coleslaw, and he said he had nothing to do with the Shield. Punk rolled Rock inside the ring and pinned him. CM Punk pinned the Rock to retain the championship, but stipulation wasn't a match interference. Restart the match, or he would be stripped. Well, it was supposedly 21 minutes 25 seconds. JBL defended the referee because he couldn't call what he didn't see. Coleslaw was livid, and Punk won with the help from the Shield. Punk celebrated in the ring with the title belt as Heyman applauded him briefly. Well, I was looking at it, and it was like 18 minutes before the hour. So I don't know. They still got 3 minutes left in it. They could be possibly done. Well, Mr. McMahon's music played, and he strutted on the stage with his power walk. Bushwalker style. Vince said that the Punk celebration was over. He recalled telling Punk that if the Shield interfered in the match, he would strip him of the title. Vince asked Punk, if he was stupid, it's my duty as chairman of the board to officially, and Rock interrupted the mic with him on the mic on the floor. We ain't in this like this tonight. Rock said, you ain't taking this one from me. I am. Restart the match now. Vince agreed and said restart the match. And had the match restart. And CM Punk with Paul Heyman versus Rock restarted. Rock hobbled back to the ring, and Punk roughed him up and connected with a top rope elbow for a good near fall. Punk went for the GTS, but Rock shoved him off. Followed up with a spine buster, and Rock performed People's Elbow and scored the clean pinfall. And that part only took 1:50. And after the match, Rock got the title and pointed at it, and then climbed onto the second rope to celebrate. Later, Rock held the title belt in mid-ring and appeared to say, "Son of a bitch, we did it," to close the show. Well, what happened after the show? A fan that was there, Efren, sent the following recap of what happened after the Rumble. Rock said Mike Chioda told him he needed to position himself to get the WrestleMania sign in for the shot. "Excuse me, but I'm talking to Phoenix," Rock said. The crowd went ballistic. Rock thanked the superstars because it takes one hell of an effort to put on a night like tonight. Rock thanked his family, and from the bottom of his heart, he thanked the fans. It feels good to do this again and be WWE champion. "If you smell what the Rock is cooking." The Rock heaved the microphone to Justin Roberts, who barely clutched it like a vase, and Rock autographed his number 94 Johnson jersey for a fan, and then left ringside. And that concludes the pay-per-view results. Thanks and peace out.